I mean, Chewy, while I'm doing this, you look up that photo of the Tauranga candidates. We all know the photo,
yes. Yeah,
but let's bring it up after this, because this actually references literally the conversation is around, too many white people in national. So let's have a look. Here we go.
But do you have confidence in the party's selection processes that your party knows what to look for in a candidate? And I'm talking about beyond experience and qualification, and maybe even colour when you look at the lack of diversity in the National Party. Do you have confidence that voters can voters trust that National knows how to pick a good politician with good credibility and morals?
Absolutely. I mean, I worked really hard over summer when I became...
Even regarding the reputation that it has?
Yeah, well, look, I'd say I get those issues. They are in the past. As I said, they were before I even came to Parliament, and certainly not since I've become the leader. I worked really hard over summer.
But certainly since Sylvia Wood, the new party leader, and since you, there's been Sam Uffindale.
Sure, let me just finish.
Change?
Yeah, so what I'd say to you is we have worked really hard on our processes and we have retooled them. I'm really confident we're going to get a great slate of candidates for 2023. We've had a lot of enthusiasm of people wanting to explore candidacy. And what's been critical is making sure we've got a process where we get to know the candidate really well, but they also get to understand the reality of the job. Often people think the idea of the job sounds great, but the reality can be very different. And so that process that we're running, with this constant assessment on both sides of that equation, is really good. And so I'm very confident we're going to get a good, diverse set of candidates. You and I have spoken about it a lot before. We didn't get the diversity we wanted given our poor election result. But I can tell you, the National Party, when it's at its best, is a national party, and it takes its values and its centre-right politics, principles and beliefs, and it takes it into all communities and has representatives from all communities. And so I'm confident we're going to do that.
Oh, Chewy, why can't we talk to them? This utter bullshit coming out. Okay, so people, let me translate for you.
I think he's been very clear.
Oh my God, let me translate. Please, can I translate? Please, can I translate? I want to repeat to you. See my little notes here? I want to repeat to you what he said. Quote, "We didn't get the diversity we wanted given our poor election result." So what that means is the brown folk down the bottom of the list, they didn't get in because only all the white fellas up the top of the list got in. He's literally saying it. He's literally saying it. We didn't get the diversity we wanted given our poor election result. In other words, not enough people got in. So the diversity, those on the lower end of the scale, didn't make it. He's literally saying it. He's saying the soft thing out loud, and the fucking journalists aren't asking it. I'm dumbfounded. Here's the other you can respond to that first, Chewy, before I go on to my next piece.
Yeah, like we ranked all of our ethnics towards the lower end of our list is not a great argument. Traditionally, National Party has had quite a lot of support in some ethnic groups, Indians and mainland Chinese, very, very strong with National. But you don't see them. They're not candidates. They're not put forward. Those are the four people that they got for Tauranga. And the joke was that they're all the same dude. When you look at National Party leadership, Todd Muller and Christopher Luxon are interchangeable. Where is the point of difference?
Well, Todd Muller hasn't been CEO of
business white dude. Like even Simon was better than this.
So please let me now go on to the second point from those 30 seconds he said at the end, right? Quote, "The National Party, when it's at its best, is a national party." In other words, when we're the best party we can be, we are nationally representative. We represent the country. And I would say that would mean by saying that you're saying the ethnic makeup, the gender makeup, the probably in this day and age, the sexuality makeup as well. Maybe not being, that's a new thing coming in now for some people, but certainly that. Okay. So what I want to know, Mr. Luxon, is when the fuck was that? The National Party, when it's at its best, is a national party. Do you know what that is? It's the same as Donald Trump saying, let's make America great again. The obvious question was, when was that, Mr. Trump? Name that time, and no one's done it. So guess what? I've done the fucking work, because this is what I do, because I have no life. So think about that, right? The National Party, when it's at its best, is a national party. Here's the shadow cabinet of John Key. Let's see how well represented this is of the community, because I count up 17 males and 3 females. There is a very strong weight towards white men, a very little makeup to do with ethnic minorities. I think Pansy Wong's in this first. I really just looked at the first 20. Like Pansy Wong's in there from memory. There are women in there for sure. And of course, I haven't done the heavy research just to look how many Māori there are in there, but it's certainly not 14%, which would be the population representation. Let's have a look again, shall we? This is the shadow cabinet of Jim Bolger. Well, Jim Bolger's one was a bit harder to do because it doesn't have a 1 to 20 and some of the names are mentioned twice, but there's one female name and that's it out of 30, Ruth Richardson. So when are we talking about this national party when it's at its best being a national party? Shall we go and have a look at the Jenny Shipley, right? This is the national party. Jenny Shipley in her top 20, 18 male, 2 female, including her. So one other. So her representation was one other female in there. Again, I haven't done the breakdown of all ethnicities, but I think Jerry Brownlee can be whakapapid back to iwi, but can't see many Pacific Island names in there. Can't see many Asian names in there. Doesn't seem to be very well represented. And just for the topper to go back to the last prime minister of this era, how about Mr. Robert Muldoon? 20 male, 0 female. Once again, looking for other representation. Neil, Michael, Don, Rex, Jack. How many Pacific Island names in there are they? So I just want to say it again. Mr. Luxon, please, I beg of you, just you're never going to talk to us. So just some journalist out there, ask him this question when he says this. The National Party, when it's at its best, is a national party. When the fuck was that? Just tell. That's what I want to know. When was it a nationally represented party? Just when? Just give me a date and I'll leave it alone.